Dick's Sporting Goods is expanding its influencer initiative. According to Footwear News, Dick's newly reinvented Dick's Varsity Team is now welcoming both Dick's employees and members of the public with a passion for sports and social media to apply. If chosen, the Dick's Varsity Team members will work closely with the retailer and its top brands to create original social media content and share it across their platforms. It should also be noted that since launching as an internal program in 2023, Dick's Varsity Team members have created over 1,000 pieces of social media content, garnering over 38 million impressions, and have been featured in 10 campaigns for both Dick's and its national brands. Lisa, we're going to go to you here. How do you feel about this? I think you alluded to it with LeBron sending customized messages here to people via email and social. But what do you think of Dick's Varsity Team influencer program, and is it something that more retailers should emulate?
Well, first I have to say, if I should be true to my passion, it would be Stephen Curry sending a message to those consumers.
True.
Just putting that out there, making sure I make my stand for the Bay. But anyhow, I think that I actually like it a lot. I mean, I think Dick's has done some great things lately to really engage the consumer and really put their stamp and really their ability to grow in the retail space. I think consumers love to see themselves in others. And sometimes when it is the professional athlete, it may not be as convincible. But if you see yourself, you can be convinced like, oh, I could look like them. I may not look like, Serena Williams on the tennis court, but I may look like somebody else who's playing pickleball that I can relate to, right? So I actually think that others should emulate it. I think they're doing a great job in the influencer space and really the social media space and how they're getting after it. So, my quick answer is yes, love it. Yes, I think more could do it. And I think the combination of real athletes and real people and spreading it across also their employee base, those are your best consumers. And lastly, what I would say as a past chief product officer, this is a great space to get consumer insights and product insights that may help drive needs, desires, or creations of product that they can fuel in their private labels or with their brand partners.
Lisa, is there anybody that you would suggest that doesn't do it? Like, are there specific retailers or brands that you're like, this makes sense for a Dick's Sporting Goods because of the the involvement, the community sense that Dick's has versus like a beauty retailer or somebody else?
Off the top of my head, and using the examples like when we talked about grocery or beauty and said it doesn't work there in our last example, I actually think it could work from an influence perspective across any category, because you want to see it put into real life. Like if you were go to the food space, I mean, who doesn't love, on social media, the recipes that pop up, right? And they might be sponsored by a grocer or something where go pick up the following items here and in 30 minutes have a great meal. Whatever. I think it could work across many, many categories.
That's great. Chris is enthusiastically thumbsing up here over on the side. So Chris, before you explode, let me go to you here and get your point of view on this.
Yeah, I'm jumping at this one. I'm with Lisa again, man. Lisa, I'm on your wavelength today. Like the point I would say, which is why I think it's applicable to almost every retailer too, is I think the point about the employees being a part of the program is really interesting to me. And I like that angle for two reasons. One, it's inspiring to the team members that want to take part in it. So that's a good win from an HQ perspective. And two, it gives them financial incentive because they can get the affiliate revenue from whatever they're helping to sell. And actually, believe it or not, back in 2013, when I was leading home furnishings for Target, I actually wanted to do this, but it was really hard to get it off the ground because if you think about it, like merchants, there's a lot of things they know that the audience probably wants to hear from them. Like say in the grocery space, like, why did I choose these products for the shelf? What is it unique? What's unique about them that made me put them in my assortment? So personalize the merchant. And that's essentially what Dick's is doing here that I think any retailer can try to do as well. Like, why did I pick that towel? Why did I pick this bedding pattern? Whatever it is. And it can be, promoted on TikTok, Twitter. Everyone can have their own handles. The problem though is that retailers are scared to try things like this. So David, when you kind of made fun of us before about just get over it and jump into it, this is something that's easy to jump into, but the retailers have to do it. And as I'm sitting here, I'm like, I can't believe that it's taking 10 years just to get to this point when this idea has been percolating for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, Chris, the other part of this that, Lisa touched on too earlier is like this is how product discovery is happening too. Like people are starting in their social platforms. They're starting with search-based queries on a new product that they're looking at. Like this content that's out there really helps, I think, the consumer get a sense of like, I can go in and talk to this person if I want to continue the conversation at my local Dick's Sporting Goods. I don't have to just see the content here, but that person might be working when I go to, select my bike or pick out my shoes. So I think that's another thing here that, Nordstrom's been doing this for a long time, but is really unique to Dick's in this sense where they are really invested in the community. They're doing events in the community. And so I think that there's really this connection that can happen too, that can help influence purchases and allow employees to get recognized for the work they're doing online and offline versus just what they're selling in the store when people come in.
Yep. The other point I would make too, Ann, is I think it gives power back to the merchant as the art of retail, right? Like they can promote themselves as the artist of why the products are on the shelves, right? Especially in this day of AI and like the story we led with Amazon. Amazon's just using algorithms to put products in their store, but this gives the avenue for the buyer to reassert their authority as the retail minds that drive the industry, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. David Brown, close us out with your thoughts.
I thought I was going to be aligned with everybody on this one as a no, but you guys are, I guess I'm just on a completely different wavelength today.
Oh my God, why?
Well, I mean, like, you said what, they had a 1,000 content creations in 2 years. Like, to me, that's like almost like who cares, right? Yeah, I guess
that did seem pretty low. Yeah, that seemed pretty low.
Everything, it's shockingly low. And I wonder if that is, maybe I'm just the wrong demographic, but I wonder if maybe that's just, do you want to be associated with Dick's or do you want to be associated as an influencer with an actual brand, right? And, whether it's Adidas or Nike or anything, Nike or whoever like that. I asked my 11-year-old daughter who creates videos for, for YouTube and her various other socials, all based around her skiing, which is kind of her passion. And she looked at me and she's like, well, why would I do that for Dick's? What about Shields? And so, kind of back to the last one. But, does it make sense to do this? Absolutely. I'm supportive of that. I question the Dick's thing, but maybe I just don't know them well enough. If this was a headline for REI or Patagonia or something like that, I would have been, all in. I just don't see people getting excited to be an intermediary for Dick's.
And I mean, I think that maybe David, just to kind of play a little devil's advocate to use, is like, I think Dick's has had such an unbelievable growth trajectory over the last, I'd say, 5-6 years. It is a very kind of, I'll call it East Coast, middle of the country centric retailer. And I kind of get what you're saying. But if you think about it, they're like a house of brands. Yes, they have private label, but really their brands are super front and center. So, I think based on their consumer base, they're going to introduce branded products to them. So I just think that they've done a lot of really positive things and have great momentum over the last, like I said, 5 or 6 years. But again, they're not West Coast. Like when I lived on the West Coast, they didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I grew up with them. So I hear what your point is.
Yeah, the other thing I'd say too, and then we can move on, is I think everyone has an influencer program, right? Like every retailer now has an influencer program. That's also not what's special here. The specialty to me, the special sauce again, is going back to the employee activation, because there's a lot of pride in employees that would gladly share things on behalf of Dick's or gladly share things on behalf of Patagonia or REI too. So that would be the last point.
I'm completely with you, Chris, on the employee side, and I think it's great.
Are you okay?
I think every retailer should do that. I just think okay, especially kind of the younger generation that's coming up, kind of wants to own their own, content and be associated directly with the brands. I'm with you, Lisa. It's a house of brands, but like if my daughter's going to post a video or something like that, based on Atomic skis, she's going to tag Atomic. She's not going to tag Start House where she bought the skis, right? And that type of thing, because then she feels like she's losing control, right? So.
Got it. So that's a good clarification. So you're saying, but you do think every retailer should emulate the employee side of this?
No, I think the
skeptical
on the absolutely.
Okay, but you're skeptical of the long-term differentiation of just the influencer program being what truly drives influencers to promote a brand versus a retailer,
especially where there's an intermediary between the things. Like
yeah, that makes sense. That's a good clarification.